You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This week, we are talking about the stop-motion animated horror film Coraline, directed by Henry Selick, released February 6th, 2009, and of course produced by the Laika Animation Film Company.
Yay!
You know how much I love Laika so much.
Yes, I like it as well after getting introduced to it when we were watching Paranorman, which was a prior episode. I think it was in November, December, when that was released. I, too, really, really enjoy what Laika puts together. And this is their first one.
Mm-hmm. We stepped back. We went from their second film to their first film.
Yes. We jump around. It's what we do here at Run for Your Lives.
I'd love to cover the other three that they've done since then, but I don't think they really fit necessarily within our parameters of Run for Your Lives, but also, like, we kind of make our own rules, so you never know.
We do. We could do, and we love Laika Night, and we'll just talk about the other three movies.
I'm totally down for that.
I think we should do it. I think we should. I don't know what we should call it, but we should totally do it. I think our audience knows by now that we just do things differently, and they enjoy us doing things our own way. So
I hope so. Who knows? Maybe there's like one or two listeners out there who just scream at their computer or their phone every time we break format in any way, and they're like, "No, that's not how you do it." But oh well.
Well, we apologize to you, but wait, no we don't. We do like to do things differently, and we're going to stick to that. That's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this movie I had never seen, very much like Paranorman. I had never seen it. And what I had seen, the photos and like synopses and everything, always made me think of Little Nightmares, which is a game series. And I have to tell you, it definitely is up there with the creep factor.
Oh yeah, for sure. Very creepy. It's very similar to Paranorman in certain ways that, like, technically it's a kid's movie based off of technically a children's book, but it is they exist. It is a children's horror novella. And the movie is kind of a children's horror film. Because even though, like I said, technically kid-friendly, but it's very creepy.
Incredibly
They don't
creepy.
hold back on some of the really frightening visuals and themes.
The premise, like the entire premise of the other family and the other world, when it starts to unravel, is terrifying.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it when she first goes there. But as she continues to go and things start to not be quite so perfect, you realize that there's something very sinister afoot.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And a hand and a claw and a button eyes.
God. So many things. The eyes, that creeped me out. That, more than I thought it would. Like, I knew about it, but it really creeped me out. And that doesn't happen with me in animated movies.
Yeah. So, I think we talked about this before, so hopefully I'm right, and this will be edited out if it's not. But this is a kind of a impromptu special holiday episode. We didn't even think about it until, like, right now, and then kind of situated to make it happen. So, Happy Mother's Day or other Mother's Day to anyone listening.
Yes. Passing that on to all of the mothers out there who are listening.
Yeah, so this weekend will be Mother's Day. And hopefully you are a great, loving, wonderful mother and not trying to kidnap some child and take out their eyes and sew buttons in place. That's not the kind of mother. We don't need you to be that kind of other mother this weekend, please.
No, definitely not. So creepy. I went into this too thinking, oh, my nieces, they might like this movie. No, they're definitely not ready for it. No, I don't think so. I know my younger niece definitely is not ready for it. She'll get really scared.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not quite ready for that. But since this is technically a kid's movie, we also are going to try to keep it, pretty PG language-wise.
Yeah, we always try to do that with animated movies. We just did that last week with Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah.
And so kind of similar, like we always put that out, if you have kids who are brave enough to have faced this movie, I'd love to know what they think. And, we'll have feedback at the back end of this thing that you would have had time to get to us. So hopefully you did. But yeah. I always love seeing what people think about different movies. So, but especially with these kids movies, we haven't really got any thoughts from kids, but I'm starting to throw that out there. Cause I'm like, do any kids watch these movies that we cover when we do the kid friendly ones? Yeah.
I hope so. Maybe in the future, new listeners will listen to the episodes with their kids. Because we really would like to know what kids think of some of these movies. Because they're, we've covered a few now that fit in that genre. So we're definitely interested.
Yes. Well, I guess it's about time to really kind of break down into it. But before we get really in the mud with this movie, trying to we always got to find some fun production notes or not production notes, but some fun behind the scenes setup stuff for this movie. And Daphne always brings some goodies. So what you got this week?
Yeah, this is what I have for Coraline. So it was filmed in Portland, Oregon. It's based on Neil Gaiman's 2002 dark fantasy children's novella of the same name. Gaiman originally was going to have the main character named Caroline, but he mistyped it as Coraline and decided to stick with it. He's also said that this book is his favorite of all he has done.
Wow. There's some big contenders.
Definitely.
In that list.
Yeah. So Gaiman met director Henry Selick just as he was finishing writing Coraline. And since Gaiman was a fan of Selick's work on The Nightmare Before Christmas, he invited him to make the film adaptation. This is the first stop-motion animated feature to be shot entirely in 3D. Was nominated for an Academy Award, a BAFTA, and an Annie Award for Best Animated Feature, but lost to the spectacular Up, which it's very hard to beat that movie. It was so good. So the budget was $60 million, and it grossed $124.6 million. At 100 minutes, this was the longest stop-motion film until Kubo and the Two Strings was released in 2016, and that movie was also by Laika.
Yeah, it's a good one. We should talk about it. I think, just to circle back on that idea. We do this sometimes. We just brainstorm while recording, and then our listeners get to hear our ideas, and then hopefully they pay off later, and they I remember when they talked about this.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a fun way to kind of shout out to our friend Ben, do it kind of Wilhelm style, and take the other three Laika films that aren't necessarily within the Run for Your Lives monster creature feature kind of thing, but still, because I love Laika, and I'm pretty sure I'm indoctrinating you into the world of Laika. So with these two movies, so it'd be fun to just take a week where we watch those three in that same week, and then instead of really breaking each down, we can just kind of give overall thoughts and notes and discuss those movies more briefly, but kind of cover all three of them. I think that would be really fun.
I think it would be fun. It would be something different, and we're always trying to come up with ideas that are a little bit different to, keep our listeners on their toes, but also to help us keep things fresh and fun here at Run for Your Lives.
Yeah. And so for any listeners who would want to get a head start on that, I don't know when we're going to actually do this episode, but hopefully sooner than later, but we'll see. But the other Laika collection, the other Laika movies would be The Box Trolls, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Missing Link are what they've released so far. So check them out and get a head start.
Really, really want to watch the Box Trolls. I may have to do that very soon, like this week. I may have to do it. It was so much fun to get to relax and watch Coraline just a couple days ago for the first watch, and so I've got to watch these, and we'll have to put it on the schedule. It might make it into this season, even. We'll see.
Yeah. I think I actually took Riley with me to see Kubo when it came out in theaters.
Oh.
So that was fun.
Did he like it?
I think so. I don't remember. He's not a big movie person, but I can sometimes talk him into going with me.
Well, Pake, that means I have finished up my behind-the-scenes look, so it's time for the synopsis.
All right. Coraline. An adventurous 11-year-old girl finds another world that is a strangely idealized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets.
Ooh. And I did say sinister a few minutes ago. Sinister. Yeah, and I didn't look at your synopsis, so... Yeah, that's definitely what I would call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very creepy. Very scary.
Yeah, a lot. So... Yeah, we can break it down again as we go kind of through characters. The way that I kind of try to piece together characters was a little interesting. Given that you kind of have like two different versions of a set of cast of characters.
You do.
So I kind of have it broken down as to like Coraline and then some of her actual real parents' notes kind of fit with her story. And then I have Other Mother and the other characters all kind of under the Beldam and, the Other Mother. And so kind of everything that she's created, because all of the other characters with the button eyes are all just manifestations of her and things that she created as her like puppets. So anything that she experiences, anything that Coraline experiences over in the other world kind of are just extensions of the Other Mother, the Beldam. So
yeah.
Kind of put that together.
I kind of did that too. I kind of kept all the notes about the other world under the Beldam.
Yeah.
It just made more sense.
Yeah, some other characters and stuff, but we'll get to those those will probably all just get thrown together as side stuff at the end. But really it kind of is the two main pieces of like the Jones family versus the Beldam and her sinister situation.
Yes. Sinister Situation sounds like it should be a band name.
I know. It's a great band name.
It is.
Come see the Sinister Situation playing at the Lofts. That sounds like a venue name. Thursday night at 7 o'clock. No.
I don't know. I think Pink Palace sounds better.
Yeah, just come catch them at the Pink Palace. That's perfect. Yeah. Tonight at the Pink Palace, catch the Sinister Situation. Yeah.
If you steal that band name, you know where you got it.
So, with that, let's start on the lighter side, the hero side of a hero versus villain type story. Yes. With Coraline Jones.
I loved her. She was precocious. She was smart. She's trying to get attention. I just, right away, adored her. She's not perfect. But she's trying to get the attention. It's like she's in the middle of a room yelling and no one hears her. Like her parents are so preoccupied with what they're doing. And I found it hilarious that they were so focused on this gardening book that they were doing, but neither one of them really likes dirt.
Yeah.
Like, how do you write about something that you don't really like? Yeah, I don't know how you make it fun for people to read.
Yeah. Not even just writing like the whole catalog, but it's like a catalog for their store. They own a like garden supply store called I Heart Mulch. And Mel, Coraline's mother has her like I Heart Mulch coffee mug that she's drinking out of and all of that. It's like, but do you though? Really?
No. No.
How did you get into this business? It must have been something that Charlie, Coraline's father, was already doing whenever they met. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what's the backstory of these characters that we don't see? Like, when they met and fell in love, like, he's the gardener. And then she just, like, fell into it and was like, fine, whatever. And that's, like, the family business. But she really doesn't like it that much.
You know, she probably didn't want to, but he's all about creating his own garden gang.
Mm-hmm. Pew, 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 pew. Hopefully our friends Heidi and Dylan will listen to this.
I think they
we
should
keep trying to get them too.
Special one.
We'll reach out to them and be like, hey, you got to listen to the Coraline one because there's gardening stuff involved. And Heidi, you love it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. They have to. Yeah. I really related to her because I just sometimes feel like even as an adult, getting someone to listen to you, it's like people are all around you talking at you, but and they want you to speak, but when you do, they don't listen.
Yeah.
They just want you to speak enough for them to be able to come back with something. And so to have a meaningful conversation, I feel like she's all alone. You know, she's really alone.
Even she's talking to Wybie and she has things like, you're just like my parents. You don't ever listen to me. And his response, he's like, uh-huh. Point made. Thanks.
Yes. I may throw in some of my production notes into this as we go. He wasn't even in the book. Like, they created him, or Selick created him, because he wanted Coraline to have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Because I guess she doesn't. And after seeing this movie, I feel like I have to read the book.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
By that one.
I feel like, I've got to do it.
Yeah, which, it's interesting to kind of call Wybie her friend. I mean, definitely by the end.
Yes.
But they have kind of this, like, strain where he's more just, like, the weird kid next door or across the, way or whatever that she just doesn't want anything to do with, but also, like, there's nobody else, so fine, whatever. You can hang around if you want to, but just don't get in my way. I mean, even where she's like, his YB is short for Wyborn, and she's calling him Why Were You Born? Which,
yes,
dang, that's pretty harsh.
It was harsh, but she missed her friends. She had two really good friends that, are in a picture, basically, a picture frame, that talks. I wasn't sure if that was real or imaginary, but it was like
it was real in the other world.
In the other world, okay. So
whatever's created to try to entice her and bring her in.
Yeah. Well, Wybie's the one who actually facilitates her entrance into the other world because he's the one who gives her the doll.
Yeah.
His grandmother says this doll looks just like you.
Yeah, which we could talk more about the doll and really what that is
yes.
at some point. But he's the one that just noticing it looks just like Coraline, brings it to her. That's kind of a kind gesture, even though it does come across as a little weird, because she's like, did you make this? It's like, we've met once, and now you've made a doll of me perfectly. That's weird, dude. That's a little weird.
It does seem weird, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we get to see at the start of the movie, they show us the doll being made.
Yeah.
Where they take the other hair off and the eyes off and like turn it inside out and then put it back together, and that was
it was really cool as that being the opening credits scene, like sequence, where you don't really know what's going on. It's just kind of creative and artsy, and you're like, well, it's creepy looking and everything's weird, what's going on? And then as the movie unfolds, you realize like the little creepy like needle fingers are the actual fingers of the beldam, and in her true form. And that's literally what she's doing. She has this doll that's kind of like a voodoo doll in a way that she's able to make it look like her victim, the target that she's going after to bring into her world.
Yeah.
Because then they want to hold on to it, and then she can use it to spy on them through those button eyes.
Yeah. And you don't realize it until later.
Yeah. So yeah, Wybie's grandmother wanted him not to bring her, because she was mad after Wybie had brought that to Coraline and said, you better go get it back, because she knows what that thing is capable of to some degree, at least.
Yeah, because she lost her sister.
Mm-hmm. Which then when we see Coraline later, I'm jumping ahead, but that's fine, because again, if you're listening to this, hopefully you've watched the movie.
Yes.
We don't have to try to break it down and just do a synopsis of the movie beat by beat. That's not fun. So,
No.
but we have Coraline burning the thing to destroy it so it can't be used again. I'm like, Wybie's grandmother should have thought of that a long time ago.
Yes.
Why didn't that happen?
Yes.
You know?
You would think that she must have understood some of what happened. So why didn't she destroy it? I mean, maybe she thought that in some way it might bring her sister back. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That maybe there's still some kind of connection, that there was hope.
Yeah.
Which again is so depressing for a kid's movie that, like, yeah, we're dealing with death and loss and things where, like, the kids that did fall victim to the beldam at some point, like, their souls are still trapped over in the other world, and so they're ghosts, and Coraline can talk with them. But the way that she saves them is just to release their souls and send them off, where they're not, their souls aren't trapped in this other world. But I mean, it is too late for them as far as their lives go. And so it is kind of dark and depressing and sad. But then at the same time, I mean, it's good that she's able to help them the way she does. Yeah.
I think she did the best thing that she could do for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because where they were was a terrible place. It was just soulless and gray and dark and just not for a child. I mean, it's the last place you'd want to have a child. I mean, it was just depressing.
Yeah.
So depressing.
But yeah, so where Coraline starts finding these little things, of course, her parents are so distracted, like we were talking about, very focused on their work on this book, and she is bored. Capital B.
Do you remember being 11 years old and being bored?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. So many times.
Yeah, and on her father's advice, she's exploring the house, taking note of all of the gross, old, and boring things that abound around this area. And that's where she finds this mysterious tiny door that's covered up in wallpaper and convinces her mother to open it for her, only to find a brick wall.
Yep. I thought, uh-oh. There's a door and it goes somewhere. This is not going to be good. Like, you don't want to go there?
Yeah, but she's thinking about it, and then that's why, the doll kind of led her to find it. So it's all these little things that the beldam is doing. And of course, that night when she's sleeping, the doorway kind of creates or sends out the little jumping mice.
Yes. Which
wake her up, and then she follows them to the door, which then has turned to this nice little blue and purple colorful portal tunnel.
Yes.
like the one behind me.
Yes, that you guys can't see. It's very cool. I love the colors. It's very cool.
Yeah, and that's where she experiences things over there, and everything seems much more pleasant in the other world.
Colorful. It's colorful,
but also
and bright and almost too perfect.
Exactly, almost too perfect, because even that first time she's over there, she likes the things that she's experiencing. She's seeing, and smelling and hearing, but she is a little put off by it. Like, there is something that's just a little wrong. It's not her home. It's not her parents. Even though it seems so great, it's a little weird.
Yeah. Just a little at that point.
Yeah.
But there are different versions, like, of everyone, not just her parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anyone that's in her life from the other side that she's interacted with are also there as well.
Yeah.
And alternate versions. Like different versions, like better versions in some cases. Mm-hmm. Like, or more put together. It's all like this fantasy world that the beldam has put together.
Yeah, it's her kind of manipulating things, like your other father is where it starts, and then she's like, your better father. And, turning into, well, isn't it better over here? And you should just stay here. We've been waiting for you. It's actually, they foreshadow some of these things a little bit. My song of choice that's going on the playlist this week. But it is the little, the other father song that the other father is playing. I say playing on the piano, but really the piano's playing it with him.
Yes.
as he says.
He's kind of along for the ride.
But the final line of that song is a little foreboding and a little foreshadowing, where he says, "Our eyes will be on Coraline."
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of means that quite literally, as far as their button eyes.
Yeah.
That's their plan, is to put them on Coraline. So I thought that was really kind of creepy, is because you hear it and it all sounds so sweet until you kind of look at the lyrics from a different standpoint, and you're like,
yeah,
ooh, oh no, it's actually really creepy.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Which that song was performed by the band They Might Be Giants, having the lead singer of that band being the vocals for that instead of the actual actor, which I had lost it, but
John Hodgman.
Yeah, John Hodgman does the voice for Charlie, but the singer John, it's still John, I think, but John something else from They Might Be Giants.
That would be John Linnell.
John Linnell, yeah, was singing that song in there, which actually They Might Be Giants was originally supposed to do the entire soundtrack to this movie, and it was supposed to be a very kind of indie rock soundtrack, and then they went a different route with it and ended up becoming more orchestral with the Nice Children's Choir and all of those things instead. But
yeah, they decided to make it darker.
Yeah,
they didn't want it to be they wanted the ambiance for the entire movie to be just a bit deeper, darker, more twisted. And so they couldn't go with the happy tunes that They Might Be Giants put together. Except I think the song that is on our playlist and then one other song is all that's left of what They Might Be Giants put together.
So yeah. So I'm trying to stay a little bit outside of a lot of the things that go on in the other world that are more focused on what, the beldam, as we'll call her, the other mother, is doing.
Yeah.
So talk about Coraline. So she goes there, she gets a little bit of an idea of what's going on, and everything seems nice. Goes to bed over there because she is ready to go home because it's a little off. But when she falls asleep in the other world, she still wakes up back in her own bed.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah. The first time, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she meets some fun individuals that live around her. Of course, we've talked about Wybie a little bit, which actually, it's funny because Bobinski's the first character that we actually see in the movie.
Yes.
As they're moving into the house and he's up on the roof doing what he does.
Being just a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Things were very much in disarray in his apartment. Things seemed very discombobulated and kind of messy, and he seemed a little bit of a mess as well. But he was very entertaining. I enjoyed him a lot. And
Ian McShane.
Oh my gosh. I love Ian McShane.
Yeah.
He's so good. Like he's a treasure. I love what he brings to a role. It's beyond just he's reading lines. He just really embodies the character when he's playing it. And I just love that. You can tell that in his diction and just all the effort you can tell he's putting in behind the voice to make it impactful. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. So first we see him as Coraline and her family are moving in from Pontiac, Michigan, which is not as dry and barren as Texas or Utah, according to Wybie.
Yeah. I thought of you as soon as he said that. I'm like, I'm sure Pake might have something to say about that.
So I mentioned Bobinski, but really I was wanting to start with, Wybie as this character that she meets. He's a strange, quirky kid. I like his welding hood that he is.
Yes, he's
fixed up with all kinds of different glasses, to zoom in on different lens and all kinds of things. He's got quite the tactical situation going on that helmet.
I think he's ready for any gauntlet with it. Yeah. He's able to adapt it. He just keeps adding to it or working on it to make it better. Mm. He's got a future in that, I think.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's got his cat, which is more, as he says, feral than actually his cat. But
I love that cat.
The cat doesn't like getting his feet wet. So
no, but that cat was smart.
Yeah.
Very smart. And I loved the interactions that Coraline had with the cat in both
Yeah.
worlds. It was just a lot of fun. It brought some of the humor into it because it was really dark. And her conversations with him, were a little bit lighter.
Yeah,
and
like the whole slug hunting bit and...
so crazy. Yeah, there were just some great moments that we'll talk about a little bit once we start talking about the cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but YB, with like a lot of the fun, but also he does help get some, exposition of the movie as well. A big thing, him saying little things at the beginning when they're meeting about, he's surprised that, because his grandmother owns the Pink Palace and she never rents it out to families that have kids because they are the targets of the beldam. I'm assuming that's why, because these things have happened before in the past. It's dangerous for kids. Because what is happening to Coraline in this movie is what happened to the grandmother's twin sister, and she never came back. She is one of the ghost children. She's the sweet ghost girl.
Yes.
Because they have the ghost boy, the tall ghost girl, and the sweet ghost girl is what they credit them as.
Yeah. Yeah, the sweet ghost girl was the twin sister. And I just felt like it was going in that direction. Mm-hmm. That one of the ghosts was going to be the sister of the grandmother. Which made my heart sunk a little bit because it's not like I expected they were going to find her sister.
Right.
But I was just, I guess, hoping for something. Something happy or positive. But this movie, things, in the beldam world, things might seem beautiful, but they're definitely not.
Mm-hmm. It does make me question, why then does Coraline and her family get to move in? Did, for some reason, the grandmother thinks she had it under control and the doll hidden away, even though YB ended up finding it and bringing it to her anyway? Like, we don't really get an answer on that as to why, what changed? Why is she there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to research that and see if it was answered anywhere. Yeah. Because that's a really good question.
But so YB's kind of the main character that she meets neighbor-wise that we see a lot of time. But we talked about, Mr. B, the amazing Bobinski.
Well, his mice are the ones, he says that his mice told him that she shouldn't go through the door. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of blows it off, saying that, well, it's all bricked up. I can't do that. And he's like, well, they get confused. I don't know. That gave me a question. Did the mice go back and forth? I don't think they do.
No, the mice that came out and got the cheese or that let her there, they have little button eyes. Yeah. It's hard to notice, but they do.
Yeah.
They are sent from the other side to entice her to follow them over there.
But I think they must
the mice on this side, on the normal side, the real side, somehow they communicate with Bobinski. And they know that these fake mice are coming over and they're like, she shouldn't follow her.
Yeah, definitely not.
Because I guess if you're eccentric enough, you can have conversations with animals in this real world. But Bobinski does. And it seems that YB has a connection with the cat a little more too. So,
cat. I love the cat. Couldn't talk in this world, but I loved listening to it. Keith David, again, another voice that's so recognizable from every role he's been in. Mm-hmm. And someone that we will discuss has a role in a future movie that we're covering on Run for Your Lives.
Nice.
Yeah. we had a guest on. I think we're having a guest on for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice little tease.
Uh-huh.
I think we've teased this one a while.
We have. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. But Mr. Bobinski and all his oompas and toodle toots. It's just a good time.
He was very acrobatic, very entertaining.
And so if he is the upstairs neighbor,
then
of course there are the downstairs neighbors, Mrs. Spink and Mrs. Forcible. Spink and Forcible, the aged actresses of an old time who are, I guess, were quite the seductive type in their prime.
Yeah, they used to be burlesque dancers.
Burlesque, yeah.
Burlesque actresses. And funny story, Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French did the voices for Spink and Forcible. The first time that they did the recording, each was voicing the other character.
Interesting.
And then Selick said, no, we need to swap it.
Huh.
And so it ended up, they were voicing the reverse, and that's what worked so well.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so they had quite the time in their prime, and now they just play cards and taxidermize their Scottish Terriers.
And don't forget, they collect taffy from various time periods. Mm-hmm. It's very hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of went on a random tangent of outside characters, but it seemed like a time to throw it in. That's what we do sometimes.
Yeah.
Build the story, build the world that we're in. Yeah, so with that, Coraline does kind of not heed the warning from the Russian gymnast.
No.
And
does not.
Leaves out some cheese for the button-eyed mice, the jumping mice, and follows them back through the tunnel the next night. Where, I kind of, again, sees more of this world, these wonders. Meeting the other Babinski and seeing the garden and how incredible it is, and that it's made to look like her from above. And
everything.
It's just this perfect version of everything.
Everything is just so beautiful and colorful and vivid. And Babinski's mice actually entertain and do what they're supposed to do versus what they do in Coraline's regular world.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just, again, almost too perfect.
Yeah. I mean, especially Other Mother, as we know her at first, you can see why she's so enticing, because when you compare it to the quote unquote real world, I mean, we get the moment where she goes out shopping for school clothes with her mom, and she's not a bad mother by any means, or necessarily like mean, but she doesn't have the most warm relationship with her daughter, and she's just stressed out all the time. And you can see like how much they clearly have to be hurting for money, and everything is hinging on this catalog going well. Because she kind of has that moment, where she's like, if things go well, then I will make this up to you. You can get the gloves. Which I love that she buys the gloves as a little gift for her at the end anyway, which is really sweet.
That was adorable.
We will work things out, and we will make sure to focus on your happiness once we can be sure that everything is okay. Yeah. But right now, all of their focus is on this catalog, and you can see that it is taking all of their time and affection and everything away from Coraline, which is what the Beldam is able to kind of prey on and feed on here.
She preys on that sadness, on that boredom, on that difficult relationship that Coraline has with her mother. I mean, it's hard. I mean, they move to a new place, and Coraline is bored, obviously, because she has no friends, even though, YB is kind of a friend, I guess. She's really put in this situation where, she's alone. And she's even more alone because her parents are not giving her any support, because they're stressed out, and they were created to look stressed out and exhausted.
Yeah.
Because the dad, Charlie, just looks like he is one step away from losing it most of the time. In both worlds.
Yeah, even in the other world you see that quickly you see that, like, oh no, he's just this literal like sack of sand. Just a puppet that's being manipulated. But like, it's weird because even like the other creations have their own feelings in a way, and a lot of them can realize they're just being manipulated and used in order to trick Coraline and steal her away, and they're even feeling conflicted and bad about it.
Yeah, they don't want to. I think at the end, the other father is just he isn't given a choice. He has to do what other mother is making him do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he very much doesn't want to anymore.
Yeah. Other YB didn't want to play along, and he winds up
losing his voice. He's quiet.
First, just not being able to talk. And then just a tiny little frown from him results in him having his cheeks like tied up together into a permanent smile. And then when that's not enough, after he helps her escape, then it doesn't end well for him. We see just his clothes hanging on the flagpole above Babinski's, where he's been, just dismantled and taken apart, and there's nothing left of him.
There's one point, though, that Coraline wants to take him with her, but she can't, because he can't leave that world. Mm-hmm. The only companion she really has going back and forth is the cat, who doesn't have a name. He's just the cat.
Yeah. Cat David. With a K. Yeah. But again, one of those kind of comparisons of the world. Yeah, it is off. Things are off over there, but the little things that help her, because she's like, with what's going on with her parents, not only, emotionally and stuff, but she's like, man, I can have all these like fancy drinks and this like roast chicken and mashed potatoes, and a lot of that is much better than a mustard salsa ketchup wrap.
I could not. That poor man should not be making anyone dinner.
Yeah,
ever.
Whatever the gross gusting concoctions he's working on are.
Well, Peg, you like anything. You pretty much will eat anything, but I'm willing to bet you're not going to eat anything he cooks.
Probably not. No.
Even you have
a limit. Does DoorDash come out to the Pink Palace? Because that's
what we're getting.
I'll just do that.
Yeah, DoorDash, come save me.
Yeah. So we mentioned the gloves, which again, when I got that, and her mother just shutting her down at that point. And then that's where they have this food conversation and all of that. So after all that happens, of course, Coraline's just in a mood, as you would be.
Yeah.
Has the house to herself for a little bit. Goes and hunts down the button key, because another part of that was her mother locking the door back up. And she's like, nope, we're going to go over. And that's when she realizes the portal is open during the daytime this time.
Yeah, not just nighttime.
Mm-hmm. It's like these little crumbs that keep giving, it's that manipulation of, let me give you just a little more and just a little more until you are craving this world. I want you to want to come here so badly. And that was the whole part of that plan. And so now that she's grabbing the key and trying to go in the middle of the day, the plan has worked.
But things continue to unravel, because each time that she goes, things look a little less perfect, especially with Other Mother. She just starts to lose some of that shine, I guess, that she's had when she first went. Yeah.
She gets... And it comes off of the heels of some really great things. We talked about like the circus, which is actually really awesome. We have this the chicken popcorn machine, which is fun, or the cotton cannons.
Yeah.
These really fun things. Or when she's going to the other Spink Enforceable, their giant theater full of dogs, and this huge performance with quite revealing costumes for for some robust actresses.
Yes.
But of course, then the big acrobatic moment where they reveal underneath the costumes that they're like the younger Spink Enforceable in their prime. And there's just this whole, everything is so fantastical. And then off the heels of that is kind of when the darker thing happens, when the shoe drops, where, it's like, well, you can stay in this world if you like it. Everything's great. All you have to do is let us rip out your eyes and replace them with buttons. It's totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's rightfully very freaked out by this. Does her best to keep it cool, but she's like, kind of in her mind, that plan, she's like, well, I'm going to go to bed and think about it so that she can wake up in her house again and never go back. But that's not how it goes that time.
No. Definitely not. And she manages to anger Other Mother so much that she throws her into that room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she meets the ghosts. And learns what the real Beldam is, what the real, modus operandi is. for
Yep.
the beldam and what she's planning to do, what she will do to her.
Yeah, she just kind of, they gave up their eyes because everything seemed so perfect. These other kids did, and then immediately they were just like, their lives were stolen and they were locked away, and it's kind of like the beldam feeds on their lives and their happiness, and
they can't leave because she has their eyes.
Mm-hmm. And since Coraline is in this room, but she has not yet given up her eyes, or her soul, really is kind of what that comparison is with those, that, if she's able to escape and can find the eyes of the other children, that they can free their souls from this dungeon and move on. That kind of becomes a plan that, at first when she escapes, that was not her plan, but then when she gets out and she's talking to YB, which YB doesn't believe a word she's saying anyway, but he's I just thinks she's nuts. but she realizes, like, and part of it, of course, she has to go back for her parents. But then she's like, I also need I have some sort of responsibility I bear for these other kids now too.
Yeah. She took it upon herself to try to find a solution. And the only thing that she could think of is making a deal that if she can find the eyes and her parents, that she would be allowed to go home, even though the sweet ghost girl tells her, be clever, miss. Even if you win, she'll never let you go. I think she was right.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to do everything she could do to keep her from winning, but even if she did win, she was going to try to keep her there.
Yeah, and that's some of the advice that the cat gives her.
Yeah.
She says you have to challenge her to a game. It's like, she doesn't play fair.
No.
But she will play.
Yeah.
And that gives her the opportunity to at least get the eyes and save the kids. Then it's kind of up to you to, like, now she's going to she's not going to play fair, so you will have to be clever. And the ghost children even tell her that. You have to be clever. And luckily, Coraline is a very clever girl.
Yes, she is.
She's like a raptor in that way.
Yes, she is. Oh my goodness. She's wonderful. She has a conversation with the cat too, asking the cat, asking, why does she want me? And the cat says she wants something to love, I think, something that isn't her, or maybe she just loves something to eat. Coraline says, eat? That's ridiculous. Mothers don't eat daughters. And the cat says, I don't know. How do you taste?
Mm-hmm.
Which is alluding to the fact that she is going to feed on her by taking her eyes and her soul. That's what it's about.
Yeah. That it's kind of what it is, the soul power that keeps the beldam alive. I mean, as she does escape, you hear the other mother, or really the beldam at that point, just screaming at her. It's like, I will die without you here. That's
yeah.
Now that she's set free the children, that she doesn't have anything to feed off of anymore.
Mm-mm. And she burns the doll, as we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Coraline burns the doll, so it's gone. So she can't even use the doll to get other kids. It's over.
Yeah.
The situation is over. But she does try, the beldam does try one last thing. But with the help of YB, Coraline takes care of the situation.
Yeah. Which, man, yeah, the game, you mentioned kind of what the stipulations were, but I did like that she was able to talk her into it. I was like, well, it's not much of a game. At least she helped with that part. It was like, we have to give me a clue.
Yeah.
She would think, be like, no,
you
just
have
do
a
it.
Clue.
But there was the clue. And each of 3 wonders I've made just for you, a ghost eye is lost in plain sight. So, she realizes she's got to use that little weird tool thing that Spink and Forcible gave her.
Yes, made out of taffy, some weird taffy present.
Because it's used to find lost things.
Yes.
Or bad things.
Yeah.
No, lost.
Yeah, both.
Bad.
Both.
Lost. Bad. No, it was lost. It was bad.
They could
Lost.
Never agree on that.
Bad. Lost. Bad. No. But really, I guess it was lost because the children's eye soul things were not bad. So
Yeah.
whichever one of those actresses, I don't remember which one was which who said which. The one that said lost was the correct one. Yeah, so these three in each of three wonders. And then it's cool that they kind of brought that back because it is the three big spectacles that were used to entice Coraline in. Number one was the garden.
Yes.
Where the bugs try to take that thing from her. And so that's when she realizes how important that is. And she uses it to see where the first eye is, which was like part of the praying mantis tractor, which was really cool.
Yeah. I like that. That tractor was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, which the other father is controlling, and he gives her that first eye after being defeated, really by luck more than anything.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, wonder number two is the theater, which that eye is the pearl that one of the actresses is wearing. Of course, they have become these creepy egg cocooned taffy monsters.
Oh my god. So creepy.
Yeah, but she's able to use some of those dog bats to get that one. And then wonder three is the circus, where we see, like I mentioned, other YB has been dismantled. But the last eye is the mouse's balance ball from the performance. And there's a fake Mr. Bobinski who is literally a sack of rats.
Because
and then she fails that one.
Things continue to unravel like the whole time. Like everything is held together. I mean, they're sawdust basically.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. And unfortunately she does fail this task to try to get this one from the rats. But Cat David showed up and
yes, he did.
Caught the rat that had it for her, so that's good.
Yeah. He was great at things like that. I remember one of my favorite lines that he said, he had caught one of the sawdust rats, and he says, I don't like rats at the best of times, but this one was sounding an alarm. And it basically was like alerting the beldam.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't have that. So he took care of it by unraveling it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, and you mentioned, with YB's help. I mean, he helped her escape from that dungeon and sent her there. But then even that was the other YB. But then the real YB even helps when she does find her parents. Is Free, like how she kind of realizes what's going on. The cat helps her find her parents in the snow globe, and she stashes that away when she escapes. So when they get back, the parents are free. They don't remember anything that happened, of course, as most of these stories do. The parents don't remember anything with magic.
You're too old for magic. That makes me think of Lock and Key.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ghosts are set free as well, but they do tell Coraline that the beldam will still look for the key. Will do everything within her power because there's the one key, and she needs that to attempt anything, so she will be coming after it. So Coraline needs to get rid of it in a place that the beldam will never find it. Which even... I mean, I've seen this before several times, but, immediately you think, oh, the well from the beginning of the movie. So I'm wondering, since you had never seen this before, is that where your mind went immediately on first watch?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. I'm like, she's going to throw it in the well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you have to. You have to send it to the deepest place, far away, the darkest, deepest place, where nobody can see it or find it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they had to do. So that's what she decides to do with it. But the beldam has one last ditch effort.
Mm-hmm. That creepy needle claw hand.
Yes. It gets away, gets through the door, and follows her, and is going to take the key. When YB comes to the rescue, he does. I mean, he is ready for a gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And together they take care of the hand and the key and drop them down into the well.
Yeah, with some close calls. There was a little close for YB there. But they've been through some stuff together now. So
they have. So I think
they're good.
Yeah, I think they're friends now. Or friends-ish, maybe. She at least has someone who understands that she's been through a very strange experience.
Yeah.
and understands it. And she's got that cat who ends up at the end coming up and kind of sleeping with her. And I'm just like, yep, that cat saved you. And you threw it. She threw it at the Beldam. And I'm just like, don't hurt the cat. The cat's your BFF.
I mean, it worked. He scratched her button eyes out.
Yep, that helped.
Did good for it.
Yeah, it definitely helped. She needed to sew them in just a little bit more.
Yeah, which led to just peak creepy, peak terrifying
psychedelic,
Beldam.
Strange business of the spider.
Yeah,
basically a spider web.
This giant spider web, because even though her eyes are gone and but like her face is all cracked and
yeah,
it's so scary. But then she's looking for Coraline, but then Coraline has like, her bag gets snagged on the webbing. And when she pulls on it, it's just like a real spider where they can feel the vibrations in their web and know where to go for their prey. And it's so creepy. It's so good.
And it went right for her. I mean, she barely escaped. Mm-hmm. She barely escaped.
She needed the help of the ghost children. They were able to kind of come out of their souls that were in those eyes. Which is interesting because like our eyes is like, well, there's one circle per thing. So it's kind of a different form of, I don't know.
It's the soul. I think
thematical.
It's the soul.
Yeah, it's more soul. But the souls are able to come out and help shut the door and help Coraline escape, which is cool.
Yeah. And she takes care of the key, like we said. Mm-hmm. And they have a huge garden party because something good has happened.
And the catalog went really well, too. So
yes. Coraline gets her gloves. Her dad spends time playing with her.
With that little stuffed like squid octopus thing, which the real one is more fun. But man, the other version of that thing, I loved it when she first sees it. What's shaking, baby? Or when she goes up to the room after refusing to take out her eyes and go with the buttons that first time, and all of the toys and stuff are, oh, what's wrong? You don't want to stay, and her friends in the picture, hey, Loper, where are your button eyes? Everything's, confused as to why she didn't take it. And then all that little squid toy has to say on that shelf is, I want to hug your face.
And that took me to Alien.
Yeah.
And also, what is the other? There's a game, I think is it Half-Life? Where they have,
face crabs.
Yes, head crabs. That's
head
where
crabs,
I went to. I'm like, oh my god, it's the head crabs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking in that moment. Yeah. They tried to make it funny in a creepy way. Like it. Yeah. You laugh, but you're like, why am I laughing at this? It's terrible. It's scary. Yeah.
But I think that kind of covers the arc and story of Coraline. I don't have any other notes about her specific, but do you have any more?
No, I think that's everything that I had.
All right. Then, and I've thrown in a bunch of notes already, just because we bounce around as we always do. But nothing wrong with that. But then the next, would be kind of the Beldam and see if there's any more notes and more thoughts on what's going on there. Of course, some of the things that we see at first when Coraline goes to the other side, the other house, and it's the same as her house at first. Mm-hmm. And then things start to get more extravagant and more fantastical. But really, the first time she looks at it, that room that has the door in it looks exactly the same.
Yes.
Except the first thing she notices is there's in the real house, there's the painting of the sad little boy who dropped his ice cream.
But this little boy is smiling and he has his ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And then she notices the good smelling food from the kitchen and walking in, and her mother has cooked food. Yes. And it's edible.
Yeah. I think I'll just visit this other world when it's time for dinner. Can I just do that? And it's bright and beautiful outside, and the colors are just vivid. It's not this gray. And that was on purpose. They did that on purpose. They wanted the two worlds they wanted the other world to be enticing. And so that was one way that they made it even more likely that Coraline would want to go live there.
Yeah, and then everything seems good. Yeah, the dinner is great, and the music, and just things seem so great. You know, it's like, we could go outside and play in the rain, and it's like, but you guys hate the rain. We love mud.
Yeah.
You know, they fix the poison oak rash on her hand with the mud, and
yeah,
there's all these little things, like, you know, that she has a little paper dragonflies hanging up in her room, and now in this world, in this house,
they're real. They're real dragonflies.
Yeah. And they're talking to her, and everything just seems really extravagant.
It is. It's colorful and beautiful, and she gets everything that she thinks she wants.
Mm-hmm. The garden, because, you know, she's kind of bummed out that her parents that work for a garden supply company and write gardening books and these garden catalog aren't ever out in the garden.
No.
And then here, there's dragon snappers instead of snapdragons.
Those were
little
funny.
Dragon snapper flowers. Yeah,
yeah, those were kind of funny. I liked the premise of that, and they take them in the house and they're still snapping. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, but this like glowing plants at night. That's just like this light show of floral brilliance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as she said, you know, she tells her parents, "You do this and you don't like dirt. Like, this is not your how does this work?"
Right.
You're paid to write about plants and you hate dirt. It doesn't make much sense when you say it out loud either.
Right. Then I deeply, deeply agree with the other father that I too love dinner breakfast food.
Me too.
Nothing better.
No, I call it upside down day. And I make bacon and eggs and pancakes and other things. It's just amazing.
Yes. Yeah, but we start learning, like we talked about, that other mother, which we get revealed is, yes, this beldam, which is an old word for witch. That's really, it's just the witch. And she's the one that's behind things. She's pulling the strings. You know, we see with Wybie when we're introduced to other Wybie. And she says, "Oh, I thought you'd like him more if he spoke a little less, so I fixed him." And you're like, no, I don't like it.
No. I don't. It makes me nervous. He looks like such a sad little boy.
Mm-hmm. And all these little things, you know, you're better, father. And even what the other father is saying, you know, well, everything is right here. You know, it's...
Yeah.
It starts looking very unsettling.
Well, when he says her strength is our strength, that was it for me. Like, there's a hive mind going on, and it is not what you think it is.
Right. Yeah, but that, you know, that first hint at other Wybie, after they come home from the mouse circus, and you see him looking glum and a little sad. There's got that little frown on his face, and there's that creepy quick shot of the other mother like telling him to smile, and then the next thing you hear about it is like, you know, oh, he had a long face and mother didn't like that, you know.
No, mother didn't like a lot of things. She changed a lot of things, and then it unravels because she can't keep it all going. She doesn't have enough soul to suck, I guess.
Or she when she goes to sleep to try to go back home and then wakes up still in the other world, and she goes downstairs and she's talking to other father, and he's very, I shouldn't talk to you whenever mother's not here because she's too busy refreshing right now, you know. And
watching her like deteriorate into what she is was just terrifying. And I have to say, overall, the beldam is one of the most terrifying antagonists that we've seen in the movies that we've covered, because her goal, the way she goes about it, is so devious and outrageous that it's just horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, and she does. She changes into this form of the thing that we got hints at in the opening credit sequence and all these things, where these spindly needle hands, and you know, we see that she is weakened because Coraline has found the souls, the eyes.
Yes.
And there's cracks forming, and she can't hold the facade of the other mother anymore, that she is this monster now.
She can't. She had a perfect world, but she couldn't keep control of it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's really all I had to say there.
I mean, her way of fixing things and using a doll as a spy, that just makes dolls even more creepy for me now. But that's pretty much everything I had. I feel like we've talked through just about everything.
Yeah, I was going to see if I had some extra notes about other characters. Again, with the cat, I like just the fact that he likes to go over to the other world to mess with the beldam, just to mess with the other mother, just because he knows that it makes her mad that there's a cat over there. He keeps going.
Yeah, and he doesn't have button eyes, and she, Coraline questions that at one point. I can see you don't have button eyes, but if you're the same cat, how can you talk? And he just says to her, I just can.
Yeah,
which made
don't question it.
Yeah, don't question it. Just have a conversation with the cat, because he's one of the smartest characters in the movie. So you need to be BFFs with the cat, with him. He's good.
But yeah, I think that might be it for other characters, because I kind of went down that tangent of talking about all the other characters as well. So yeah, that's it, other than just kind of random notes not associated with things, which we've talked about most, except for if you sit through the entire credits of the movie. At the end of the credits, it's not necessarily a scene, but there's just kind of like an old school little thing that says, for those in the know, jerkwad. And that's all it says.
And so what does that mean, Pake?
So it was part of a marketing thing, a special code that Nike had done something with this movie before the movie came out. There's kind of, if you found out about it, you could win a special pair of Coraline themed Nike Dunks. They look really cool. I definitely say look at, because they're like this gray and yellow shoes, and then one of them has the cat head on it, and the other one has like a little jumping mouse with the little like circus performer hat on it. And it's this they look really cool. But basically, when those shoes were announced, they're like, you can enter to win one of these. You just have to look for the code in the credits when the movie comes out. And so for then anyone who went to the theaters or saw this movie when it came out, at the very end of the credits, it came up on the screen, for those in the know, jerkwad. And then so then if you went to the Nike website thing and whatever at that time, that promotion, and used jerkwad as the special code, you got entered into the thing for winning this.
Wow.
Entered into the drawing for winning these Nike Dunks.
That is cool.
This is really interesting.
I'm going to have to look up those shoes, because they sound very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did one thing. The end of the movie I really enjoyed, that they did finally go out to the garden, and it seemed like Coraline was going to have, at least be in a place where there were some interesting people around, and she was going to hopefully have a better life with her parents. I feel like they weren't quite as stressed out, and things were getting to a better way for her. And I appreciated that, because she'd been through so much.
Yeah.
And the only other thing isn't really about the movie itself, but the fact that I think Gaiman was really smart to have Selick do this film, because he seems to really fit the whole Leica studio, fresh thinkers, innovative, people that are trying to do something new.
Yeah.
And I think it takes someone like that. It's someone who's open to making things different in order to achieve what he did with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But that is all I have for notes.
All right. Which means it's not all you have for notes.
No, it isn't.
We've broken down the movie thematically and characters and arcs and stuff. But now we get into all the fun, nitty-gritty production notes and behind-the-scenes things and trivia. And you always kind of find some really fun, interesting factoids about these movies.
You know what? I do trivia on a weekly basis, and I'm convinced that one of these times getting into the movies this deep and finding out this information is going to help me. It has not yet, but I do feel like it's going to.
I bet it will at some point.
So, without further ado, here are some production notes and other tidbits about Coraline. So the film involved 450 people working on it, including animators, digital designers, technicians, and other designers. One person was hired specifically to knit miniature sweaters and other clothes for the puppet characters. The needles were as thin as human hair. Can you imagine? I can't. I mean, you'd have to be looking under a microscope.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned this before when we did Paranorman, but like there have been times where Leica has traveled and set up like little museum exhibits in different cities and different places where you can go in and look, and they have all of the little figures in the different, things of all the different characters and stuff, and you can really look at them. And they've even had some moments where they have like auctioned off and sold.
They have
different ones, and they go for so much, but like it always is one of those things like, man, if I could have an official Leica figure from one of these movies that was used in just a frame, but it was like, God, that'd be so cool.
I know.
Because there's so much work that goes into them.
There is. and I have a lot more to share about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Selick originally thought his direct adaptation would be short, like 47 minutes. So we started to expand the screenplay, which is how he included YB. And again, I mentioned he wanted Coraline to have someone to talk to, and I think that was a smart decision.
Mm-hmm.
Selick discovered Japanese illustrator Tadahiro Yusugi and invited him to be the concept artist on the film. So he wanted the animation to be different from what was currently available at the time. Real smart decision, I think, because it took things in this cool, innovative direction that Leica has continued to build off from. At the start, Coraline was going to be a live-action film with Dakota Fanning playing Coraline, but they instead invited her to do the voice once it switched to animation. She was super excited when she saw what Coraline was going to look like. She definitely signed on to do it. She was stoked.
That's cool.
We talked about They Might Be Giants and what happened with the music. The source novel is set in Neil Gaiman's native England. It's never revealed in the film where they are, but the location is Ashland, Oregon. The stage performers and the performances are references to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival held in Ashland. The film Coraline was shot over 18 months, following 2 whole years of pre-production work.
Stop motion takes a long time.
Yes, it does.
Which is why since 2009, when this movie came out, they've got started on it probably, 2006, 2007. There's still only been 5 movies in the roster of Leica because it's a lot of work.
It is.
So I always get excited when a new one does happen because, it's going to be a while between them and they put so much into it.
Yeah. Over 130 sets were built across 52 different stages at the studios, spanning 183,000 square feet. The 52 stages were the most ever deployed for a stop-motion animated feature. Every object that you see on screen was made for the film. The crew used 3 3D printing systems from Objet in the development and the production. Thousands of high-quality 3D models ranging from facial expressions to doorknobs were printed in 3D using the Polyjet matrix systems. The puppets had separate parts for their upper and lower parts of the head that could be exchanged for different facial expressions. Coraline's facial combinations consist of 3D printed prototypes. New technology enabled the prototype to be molded by a computer, which was then hand-painted by the modeling department. Each jaw replacement was clipped between Coraline's eyes, resulting in a visible line which was later removed digitally, frame by frame. There were a total of 207,336 possible face combinations for the character of Coraline. Computer artists composited separately shot elements together or added elements of their own, which had to look handcrafted instead of computer-generated. For instance, the flames were done with traditional animation and painted digitally, and the fog was dry ice. For the character of Coraline, there were over 20 different puppets of varying sizes. The main Coraline puppet stands 9.5 inches high. It's about a little taller than Luchasaurus. Each one took 10 individuals and 3 to 4 months to construct. The on-screen snow was made from super glue and baking soda. 1,300 square feet of fake fur was applied to stand in for live and or dead grass. In a shot of Coraline on her parents' bed, there is a photo of her and them together in which her hair is brown rather than her usual blue, implying that the character of Coraline has dyed her hair blue. And I just say, you go, Coraline. Dye your hair blue. It's cool. The other mother's clothing gets scarier and scarier whenever Coraline goes back to the other world. It's kind of a sign of the deterioration and the Beldam's inability to keep control of her world that she's built. The names, Charlie and Mel, are only given to Coraline's parents for this movie. Both characters are unnamed in Neil Gaiman's novel. I really have to read this book. The amazing Mr. Babinski is called Mr. Bobo in the source novel, though for most of the story, Coraline simply knows him as the crazy man upstairs. And then finally, Coraline has been made into a stage musical produced by MCC Theater in New York with music and lyrics by Stephen Merritt of The Magnetic Fields.
Interesting.
And now Pake wants to go to New York to see this musical.
Yeah, that would be cool. Is it still running, like currently?
I don't know.
When was it made? I don't know.
I'm not sure. It was off Broadway in 2009. It was in San Francisco in 2011. 2013, Edmonton, Canada. 2014, Chicago. 2015, Charlotte. So I don't think it's still running. However, I would so be down to watch it.
That would be cool. Gotta bring it back somewhere. I'll be there.
So that is all that I have for production notes. I know it was a lot, but with any Leica movie, there's always so much that goes into it. It's too difficult for me to choose. Like, I feel like I have to leave as much in as I can because they worked so hard on the movie. I feel like they need all the credit for everything that they do.
I feel like when we do that special kind of, not really deep dive, like a shallow, but you're not supposed to dive in the shallow end of a pool. Don't dive in the shallow pool, kids. Never dive in the shallow.
No.
So it's more of a shallow, a dip in the pool. And but a quick overview, of the other three movies.
Or like a special.
Like a half of that episode's going to just be the production notes on all of those and stuff for those movies.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to have to combine all the lists for everything and go through and talk through how they started with Coraline and evolved through the other movies. There's just...
It's going to be fun. Yeah. I'm excited to do it.
I'm glad I came up with the idea.
Yeah. Always, it's great to find kind of new stuff. And we can do what we want.
Yes.
We like to say it a lot. It's our podcast. We can have fun. And if we want to break the format and the rules and whatever, we will. We
may do that more in the future. Not all the time, but we do have another idea for something that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a little bit different, but I think you guys would be on board with it. So we'll share that info when we're ready.
Yeah, because we love dark movies. We love horror movies. We love thrillers and disaster things, monster movies. But we also are just lovers of film in general. And there's so many different movies that we love that span all genres and all styles. So when we have a movie podcast, we can focus on one thing for the most part, but when we get excuses to reach out and broaden a little bit, we'll do it.
Yeah, we've both been on different podcasts to talk about other movies from time to time, and I think it would be fun for us to be able to break down some movies that might not fit our theme, But again, as I said, I think I've said before, I've been exposed to movies I had never considered even watching before just by doing this podcast. So for me, it's a lot of fun. And I just have a feeling if we do this little idea that we have, it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a fun one. I know it's going to be fun when it comes to Leica.
I know. So. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
It was a good time. Oh, boy. Let's see what anybody else had to say. Get this feedback phone and see what people have to say about Coraline.
So excited.
All right. And as is usual lately, and again, not complaining, because we kind of figured, I think last week we even mentioned this was probably going to happen. So that's how it goes. We have some Mitchells versus the Machines feedback for this episode. And then we do have a little bit of Coraline feedback as well that I can't wait to get to. But first, of course, got to have our great Mitchells feedback. The first one, I'll let you take, but I'm so excited about this one. It was awesome.
All right. So this is from our good friend Tony. She had the following to say. Daphne and Pake, you made me turn this on tonight. You both had so much fun talking about this movie. I loved this movie. Everything about it is delightful. The subtle approach to Katie's sexuality was done so well. My daughter came out only months before this movie premiered. She included a rainbow emoji there.
Aww.
And she was also very impressed, Pake, that you could read all that small print.
Yeah, for the yeah,
that was a lot.
Yeah. I love this feedback, Tony. Thanks so much for sharing. And I think I had a little back and forth with you on Twitter with that, just because makes my heart happy to hear really cool things like that. So
yeah,
much love to you and your daughter. And yeah, it's so great. And then another one, which had a little context here, but this one comes from Rosita over on the Fire Kid Discord, which are some friends of mine who are in a band. They have a really cool Twitch channel, so I will also throw that out there at Fire Kid Music on Twitch. They do gardening, music streams, some video games. Just a lot of fun, but they've got a little community over there that we are a part of, and they were so nice to share the link to our Mitchells vs. the Machines episode in the Discord. And so some more Fire Kid Garden Gang fans over there were listening to the episode. And so we really appreciate that. So Dylan and Heidi, if you're listening, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And we got a little bit of feedback from Rosita from the Garden Gang over there talking about it. She said, fascinating. I got to listen to part of the podcast and I found them on their link on Instagram. Again, thank you for linking us. Thanks for sharing. She even says, she has a few of the podcasts on Instagram I'd like to listen to. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
You can find some fun stuff. But her thoughts on the movie, she hadn't watched the movie, but she did listen to the episode or some of it. And so she did say, I feel sad for anyone that has to struggle to know who they are, like Katie. And so, yeah, thanks for your thoughts there, and heart for that, Rosita. I appreciate that. And she says, I've never seen the movie. And then she ends it with such talent, these two, talking about me and Daphne. And, oh, my heart. Thank you, Rosita, so much.
Oh, my gosh. Rosita, thank you so much for your kind comments. We have so much fun doing this podcast, and it just warms my heart to know that you really enjoyed what you listened to. So It makes it worth it for us.
Yes. Garden Gang. Pew, pew, pew. And then, of course, speaking of gardening, Coraline this week. We have one feedback from Coraline so far. I'm sure we might get some more next week. I hope we do.
Yeah.
It's okay. Send us your thoughts on Coraline after you've listened to this. We're totally cool with that. But we do have the return of some live Steving from Steve Brown. Yay!
So glad. I've missed it. I know that our listeners have as well. This is what Steve had to say about Coraline.
Hey, Pake and Daphne, this is Steve, and this is for Coraline. I have no idea what this movie's about. It's about a creepy doll. Come on. Oh, it's a Neil Gaiman inspired novel, book, movie. All right. One of those guys from The Karate Kid. Oh, no, he's on a bicycle. Oh, and it's just a mask. Poison oak, don't wipe it on your jacket. Wow, this is one dysfunctional family. Parents really... Does she just not like her daughter? Is this Yellow Jackets? Just FYI, it's me. I don't think I'd be able to sleep with a little doll copy of me staring over me. Ew. This is a little creepy, the family with the button eyes. I missed something. Where is she at, and where does this Bobinski guy come from? Just stick his crotch on her head. Anybody actually stuff and mount their Dead pets? Ew. Fixed him so he speaks less? The cat in the other talks. And he speaks with Keith David's voice. Now she's seeing a... What? Is this a body vaudeville? Dogs are in the... What is this? Huh? Now the sinister side of this comes out. They're trying to suck her in. This is weird. Wow, other mother, you changed quickly. Now she's thrown her in this where these other ghost kids are. Ooh, this is worrisome. Oh, so is she actually back, or what's going on now in this house? Well, that's 7 years of bad luck for you now. And your parents are still missing. Is burning the doll with her parents' faces on it going to actually help? Of course, the cat can talk in the tunnel. Oh, those bugs carrying away the thing with the hole in it. Oh, other Mr. Babinski is even weirder. Did she just throw the thing? Okay, well, I'm going to send this along because I'm running short on time and I haven't finished the movie yet, and I've got some other things I'm dealing with this evening. So can't wait to hear you guys talk about this one and see the end of it. Later.
Oh, man. Steve, you've got to let us know what you think of the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to hear. Because the ride we did go on with you through that movie was fun. That's what I love about live Steving is hearing you actually like the legit like surprise or kind of discomfort in certain parts of the movies where you're like, oh no, what is this? It's so much fun. And I'm so glad to have some live Steving back. Thank you so much I know you have been busy and a lot going on, and I'm so glad that you were able to send us what you did and watch what you did. Thank you, Steve.
It's awesome. Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate it. And if you'd like to send us some feedback, like Tony, Rosita, or Steve, you could submit your feedback by going to our Facebook page at facebook.com/runforyourlivespodcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com, tweet at us on Twitter at RFYLpodcast, or DM us on Instagram at runforyourlivespodcast. And if you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much all the other podcast players, including YouTube. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you'll ever need and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, always do. And speaking of sharing the love, go ahead and give some shout outs to other stuff going on in the podcast universe around us. Of course, my other podcast, which I haven't been on the past couple of weeks. I've been busy. They wanted me to come on and do episode 9, and I wish I could have this week. It's just been hectic, but hopefully I will be over there soon to talk some Ozark, but I've got some other really busy stuff still coming up the next few weeks. We will see. But even if I can't make it until kind of the last few episodes of the season, Rima and Wendy are holding it down and crushing it over there. They're doing such a great job covering this back half of the final season of Ozark. I've still only watched episode 8. I've got a chance to watch 9 myself, and I know they recorded like yesterday on it. So, or 2 days ago as you're listening to this. So, I will watch that soon, hopefully, and get caught back up and hopefully get Willem. But man, it's such a great show, and they're doing a phenomenal job over there. And then Stranger Things is coming very soon.
Yes,
Stay
it
tuned.
is. There's a couple weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Less than 3 weeks.
Yeah. We'll see if I can. I'm hoping I can be right there to cover the first episode with Rima. Again, busy stuff coming up, so we'll see how schedules and everything line up. I'd like to, but craziness. So many shows. And Umbrella Academy is coming back next month, so
yeah,
plenty of stuff going on. The Strange Indeed soon enough, and right now. So yeah,
yeah.
Stay tuned for sure,
crazy.
and check in Ozark if you are watching that and a fan of that. Check out their coverage of that right now. All in the House Podcastica realm. So many great shows over on House Podcastica. So these next few that I mentioned are all on the House Podcastica feed, but then they also have their separate feeds that I'll call out as well. So check out the Better Call Saul cast with Jason, Rima, and David. Talking Better Call Saul, of course. This final season of that show as well.
Ooh, so good. So good.
Yes. Doing a great job covering what has been, in only 4 episodes so far, a phenomenal season of this show. It's been really good. So if you're a fan of Better Call Saul, check that out. And then also on the Moon Knight cast, Jason and Kirk will be covering the finale of Moon Knight this week coming up. Or hopefully it should be up this weekend sometime, hopefully by Sunday, Monday. be looking for it. Man,
Great
fun
episode.
finale.
Great episode.
Ooh, they've been doing a great job over there breaking down Moon Knight, and really, Kirk has fun with the theories, for sure. It's been a lot of fun to listen to him, and more times than not, as crazy as they sound, he ends up being right about something. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. And then also, What is From is the name of the podcast, where Lizzie and Alex are breaking down the Epics series From, which episode 1 is up now. They're kind of going week to week. Lizzie's seen the whole thing. Alex is watching for the first time. I think those episodes are trying to get up on Sundays as well.
Yep, Sunday nights.
So the first episode is up, and episode 2 will be up this weekend. So check that out. And I think that is it for the Podcastica stuff. So, Panels to Pixels with Mark and Steve, also covering Moon Knight, and then TV Podcast Industries, also covering Moon Knight. So lots of great places to get the Moon Knight coverage, and with this finale coming up, be great to even jump around and listen to a lot of different theories of what this finale could mean, and a lot of things that could be going forward in the MCU with that.
Yeah.
So check that out. And also TV Podcast Industries covering Picard, which I think season 2 just ended.
Yeah.
So they're just wrapping that up this week, I'm sure. So check that out. And I think that is it on other podcasts. That's about it. There's so much I got to plug last week. A little less. Shows are wrapping.
Yeah.
Some of the other podcasts are going to like bi-weekly schedules and things. And so it's, kind of wraps up that way. But we do have something fun for you here next week on Run for Your Lives. Where could that be, Daphne?
Well, when a mysterious anomaly takes a 10-year nap in the moon and awakens to wreak havoc on the Earth, it takes a conspiracy theorist and a washed-up, discredited astronaut with a history with the entity to join forces and save the world. Next week, we're discussing Roland Emmerich's 2022 disaster film, Moonfall.
Ooh. Yeah, that one is interesting.
Yes. We have lots of thoughts and opinions on it.
Definitely.
We'll be sharing those.
It's a fun conversation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely check out that movie and check out our coverage next week. Get your feedback in if you've seen it or will watch it this week, so we can have you played or read right here.
Yeah.
Same bat time, same bat channel, right?
Definitely. We'd love to do it, so please send in your feedback. And with that, we have reached the end of another terrifying, well, not terrifying, more disturbing, fun episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pate.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.